So just really appreciate Coach Lewis and his staff for the hard work they do. And without further ado, I will let him introduce the boys. You want to come on down? Let them come down.
Okay, just about these guys real quick. We've got most of our guys here tonight. First, these guys and Coach Ogle, myself, Coach Manchak, I want to thank y'all. Thank Mr. Flood. Thank Ms. McCauley, Mr. Kahn, and Coach Lowry and parents for everything they do for us. We had a good year this year. We went 29-5. We got beat in the second round. But like we talked about at the end of the year, there's a basketball player that said, I can't remember, the kids will remember, but the season wasn't a failure. We got cold at the wrong time. And that happens in baseball. You see the baseball game, it goes like this. And we just went like that at the wrong time. But these guys had a great year, 29 games, won a district championship. Another one, these seniors won 3 in a row. Would have won 4 in a row without COVID, but we won 3 in a row. And they did a great year, proud of all of them. So I'll recognize a few of them right now. Owen Reaver, a senior for us, he's a pitcher for us. Owen's going to pitch and play the field at North Central Texas College. Byron McClure, he'll be back as a junior next year for us. He played outfield, did a great job for us. Young, but he was one of our big guys for us. Jaden Spurlock, big contributor for us this year. We'll have him back. Jason Carroll, another one of our core guys. He'll be a senior next year for us. Trey Hindash. All these guys are big guys for us. Trey, another one, helped us out all year, did a great job. He'll be a senior next year. He'll be coming back. Cole Allen. Cole, he graduated this year, but he's going to play at North Central Texas College also and pitch and play the field. And it's a good school, you two. Tate Grimsley played the outfield for us. And I'll say this about Tate. He made a Sports Center catch that we couldn't have us on Sports Center one day because he banged into the center field wall in Wimberley, and I've never seen anything like it, and wish we could see that. But Lucas Ponce, the flying Ponce, he did a great job for us this year. He'll be back. Him and Tate will both be seniors next year. And got a few guys that's missing tonight, so they're still playing. They got games tonight and stuff in Lubbock and things like that. But these are our guys.
All right, we'll continue with stakeholder communication. Dr. Deere.
Okay, those are construction updates. So that's going to be S&P and Reader, whichever wants to go first. Okay.
All right, good night. Gotcha. It's green. All right, you want to go ahead and get started. Travis Jackson with S&P, so I'll be going through the updates here for y'all. As you can see here, this is from y'all's 50-yard line, looking at the CTE building. You can see we're moving through with the drilling rig there, getting the piers installed for the aluminum bleachers. That'll be completed this week. We got a lot more steel in place since the last time y'all saw us. Up there on 4, we're setting deck. If you want to go ahead and go to the next one. You can see this is actually from the beginning of last week, so there's quite a bit more up there. And we started setting decking down on that southwest corner there. And you can see we're getting ready to pour over here on the northwest side. This is through the second floor of the CTE building over in Section D. You can see we're getting the insulation installed and getting the rock up on the wall, as well as the MEP finish out, as you can see. So we're rocking and rolling through here, getting this rock installed and getting this closed up. Same through here. This is in Section E. Very similar progress, getting those fur downs in, getting that rock up, getting everything ready to be closed up. This is actually up on the 3rd floor. You can see we're getting the hangers in for the MEP, the ceiling, and we're actually starting to spray the fireproofing up there, which will be completed beginning early next week. And then we'll get up to the next one, which this is up on the 4th floor, and we'll be pouring that section on the north side of that picture there, getting that decking installed and proceeding with that. This is over at the arena. This has actually changed quite a bit since this picture, and again, this is just a little over a week ago. Noticeable difference is over here on the south side, which would be the right of this picture. We've actually poured that area. We have all the mechanical chases getting installed up on the roof, getting ready to put that down. And we have the first of the precast actually starting to show up at the end of next week. So we're excited to get that rock and roll in there and get that installed. This is the south side of it. That's 177 there. So you can see we're getting the grade beams in over here on the Section F, which is over on the visitor side bleachers, as well as wrapping up that CMU wall there where you have the stairs at the arena. And just to give y'all a quick, the substantial completion that we're tracking right now is for the CTE building, we're looking at January 3rd, which is pushed a little bit because of the rain delays we had, which we're working through getting that tightened back up. Area F and the arena, we're looking at March 22nd, and the field we're tracking for January 25th. Any questions? Okay, thank you.
All right, howdy. Jeff Stevens with Reader. Again, another rendering from Huckabee showing what the south side of the building will look like. So this is a photo from last month. I don't believe I shared this one, but this is just a top-down view of what the site looked like at the end of May. Didn't have any slabs poured. And so this is a top-down view from last Wednesday, I believe it was. We managed to get two slab pours out of the way. I got the kitchen and then area B poured. I think we poured area B beginning of the week last week. And then next slide. All right, so then just another, this is what it looked like last month. This is the first slide I showed you all last month. As you can see, no slabs down. And then again, another view showing the slabs we poured. And then you can see at the top of the photo some of the ICF walls that are going up. And in the next photo, a little bit more detail. Yeah, you can see a little bit more progress areas A and B. And then the ICF, we poured that ICF wall last Thursday. And so all these photos are from last Wednesday. We poured that wall last Thursday, and then we've got our second sequence of ICF. The blocks are going up right now, and that ends up being on the south side of area B. Again, another photo of the kitchen area with the ICF wall. Next photo. Another photo of the slabs. We've got our dowels in for ICF, and I think you probably see 6 to 8 foot of ICF blocks up along that dividing wall. You can see the rebar sticking out of the ground right now. Again, this is from last week. Next photo. And then the fields, last Wednesday we had, I guess you'd call that about a third of the sod down on the large field. We should finish sod on the large field this week and then moving into the 50-yard field next week. It'll probably take about a week and a half to get that sawed down. Looking to have steel swinging in about 2 weeks, starting at the kitchen, working our way, I guess, east, and then start CMU in about 2 weeks as well. And then ICF, we'll have our first sequence. The next section of ICF is going to be tall enough walls. It'll have to be 2 pours. The first pour will be by the end of next week, and then the next pour will be probably the following Friday. And that's what I've got. Y'all have any questions?
Is the date of completion still the same as last month?
January 24th of 24. All right. Thank y'all.
So I do have a question for S&P that I forgot to ask. Apologies for that. So referring to the tennis courts, I noticed there's clearing places made for the sidewalk. Do we have a projected date on that? Well, for completion of the sidewalk. Will that be done in time before school year starts? Thank you. All right, at this time, we'll move into public participation. At this time, we extend the opportunity for public participation portion of the meeting in compliance with Section 551.007 of the Texas Government Code. We do have a couple of folks that want to speak. Public participation provides the general public the opportunity to address the board regarding topics listed on the agenda. Persons attending the meeting and wishing to participate in a public forum must complete a form and submit the form. 10 minutes prior to the meeting being convened, each individual addressing the board will have 3 minutes to make their presentation. Personal attacks on board members, district employees, and students will not be allowed. All participants are expected to speak with respect, civility, and maintain a calm, supportive demeanor. Upon the expiration of 3 minutes, I'll call on the next person signed up to speak. Please note that the Open Meeting Act does not require the board to respond to any comments or complaints from a member of the public regarding an agenda item. We will now begin public forum. Ms. Goodlow will be keeping track of the time for us and indicate when we're close to the 3-minute time frame. First up, I have Ms. Nova Olson.
Is this mic actually working?
Yes.
Okay, because I couldn't hear the construction guys at all, so. First of all, I'd like to provide some documentation. You guys will just take one packet and pass it down as we receive it. All right, so I noticed looking at the agenda tonight, there's several things, especially stakeholder communication, superintendent reports, a lot of budgeting, but no information has been provided to the public. I don't understand how the public could possibly be prepared to come and talk about it when there's no information. There's a complete lack of transparency, which we talk about over and over and over in this forum, a complete lack of transparency. So in Godley ISD call to action, it says community engagement is vital to learning and promoting accountability in all students. I don't understand how you guys support community engagement when you limit people who want to come and talk about something, but you don't provide any detail on it. So only discussion can be happened after the fact, and then you don't allow it to happen. That's not supporting community engagement. It says, utilize a system that promotes accountability and transparency to ensure our actions align with our core beliefs. Every one of you board members were elected by the taxpayers. You work for me, not Dr. Deere, not the TASB. You work for me as a taxpayer. You hold Dr. Deere accountable for what the taxpayers want to have happen here. In your packet, and this goes to what we've talked about several times, there's 3 different times for meetings. I don't understand how that promotes anything. So 6 o'clock, 6:30 to 7, which is it? Which one of those times is actually the meeting time? In your local policy, there's nothing that says anything about signing up 10 minutes ahead of time. So I don't understand how you guys promote. So only one person last month on this board was willing to engage in civil discourse. Not one of you were willing to engage in a conversation so that you could inform the public as to why something was being discussed or done. You work for the taxpayers. We expect you guys to engage. Only a couple of you really ever say anything on this, so I don't know how you could expect us to believe you're actually working for us and what we would like to be done, what would like to be done in our community. I expect more transparency and at least for you to follow your policies.
Mr. Stevenson, may I say something?
Yes.
I just would like to request an item to be added for July's agenda to include the board packet and backup documentation with the agenda that is posted for the public on our website. And I do realize that we need 3 board members now to have an agenda added to a subsequent meeting. And I just would like to encourage the other board members to make these documents available to the public. It's very easy to do through Board Book. Obviously, this would be all of the items outside of executive session items, but I think that the public would value that transparency for us to have these documents for board meetings available to them. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next up, Mr. Monk.
Hello, how are y'all? I'm basically going to just piggyback off of what Ms. Noah was talking about because it's literally the same thing. I'm going to go straight to the questions I have. In transparency and, speaking on all agenda items, current, previous, and future. Questions being... sorry.
Yeah, I was about to say, can you speak up just a little bit? Thank you.
Yep. The questions being, is being transparent changing the sign-up time to speak up, to speak, which only makes it more difficult for working parents to get here in time? Is being transparent voting for an agenda policy that requires a 3-board member approval for an agenda item to be included in a board meeting? What that actually does in this case is make it to where how y'all literally can't represent the ones that voted y'all in individually. Let's just use, for example, if a group of parents have concerns with, let's say, bullying, and they bring you a well-proven backed plan with data from other schools that work and majorly slows down bullying, there is now a really high chance you as an individually elected member may not be able to include that as an agenda item to be discussed and possibly implemented. This policy almost automatically shuts you down from being able to do what you were elected to do. In closing, I do have a question in regards to that specific agenda policy. Again, it's previous, but it goes to all agendas now and future. This will give each one of you that voted for the policy an opportunity to prove real transparency with your constituents. To whomever is here watching online, pay close attention to this question. How is it that this agenda policy, which requires 3 board members to vote on an approved agenda item, how is that agenda policy that was already included in a training binder for the newly elected board members that they received on Friday, May 19th, but was not voted on and approved until May 22nd? So how is it that something is already implemented in training material that wasn't yet voted on by the board? It's impossible, unless y'all can predict the future. That's my question on it. My closing statement would be, let's change things back to where the community has real transparency and are able to speak freely on what they deem is important, along with what y'all seem is important. Because I'm not against the schools personally. I'm not against teachers or anything. I'm just against us as parents being the taxpayer, us not being allowed to speak on what we think is important, aligned with what y'all feel is important on the agenda items. Thank y'all.
Thank you both for your participation. I assure you that the board has heard your comments. All right, next we have superintendent reports.
All right, our first report are we coming right into our website update? Mr. Metter.
Board members, it's an exciting opportunity to tell you about some changes that we're going to be having with our district website, as well as with parent communication. Last year, the district moved forward with a new website platform called Blackboard, and that was a decision was made before I came to Godley in August, but it was a great program that I had a lot of experience with. Unfortunately, Blackboard, or its K-12 portion of the company, was acquired by a different company called Finalsite, and that company had, after over a few months, made a presentation to those of us in Region 11 and announced that they would continue to support the Blackboard website platform through 2025. But if we transition to the Finalsite platform with their existing program, that they would migrate our current website for free if we told them by June 30th. And so we move forward with that, and so we are just now beginning the process of actually migrating our website over to the new platform. There will still be all the same content. There should be a little impact on the end user, whether it be parent or community member or staff member that's trying to acquire information, but there won't be any features that we lose, but we will acquire a great deal of features on the back end, which is very helpful to me. But it's a really great program that I look forward to launching. The process, they say, will take about 12 weeks, so there may be a time when I have to maintain both websites after the initial migration starts, but because our website is so young and there's not an overwhelming number of content that happens when you've had the same program for 10 to 12 years or something like that, that we will be able to launch the new website in shorter amount of time. The second program is called Parent Square, and this is something that I think will address a lot of concerns that we've received from parents over the last year, and that's that teachers, campuses, coaches, band directors, everybody kind of uses a different platform in order to communicate, whether that be through School Messenger or through Skyward or through Remind or different things. This will consolidate all of those, and so that all the announcements, whether it be about an event or a program or something like that, will go through a single platform that they can sign up for. It will enable them to get every single announcement from the district, campus, the teacher, coach, sponsor, whoever, in one platform, and will really streamline that. Other districts in our area that have used it have spoken glowingly about it, and those include Waxahachie, Northwest ISD up in Denton County, Carrollton Farmers Branch, Waco Midway, and there's a number of other districts, a lot out in West Texas, small districts. But that's something that we really think will be able to improve parent engagement by having a single platform. And Mr. Oliver and I have been looking at that over the last few weeks and trying to decide on the right program because of the multitude of different things that our staff is using. So The parent can also decide how they want to receive the information. So if they want to receive a phone call, when a phone call is alerted, or if they want an email, text message, push notification to the Parent Square app, they can customize how they receive that. They can also sign up other family members that might be involved in the child's education, such as a grandparent or aunt and uncle or older brother or sister, so that they can stay on top of the announcement for that particular student. So that launching of that should only take a couple of weeks, and we should be ready to go by the first day of school. So there's more information, I think, in the memo that I provided in Boardwood, but I'd be happy to address any questions.
Couple of questions for you. Risk associated with transitioning to this new website tool. How old's the company? How well established is the application that's being used or the tools? Is this something that's in beta use? So again, I'm concerned with the risk of transitioning so quickly after we just transitioned to Blackboard.
Right. I would say that the risk is low. I believe Mr. Oliver told me that the district had been with Final Site before, probably a couple of websites before. We were with Edlio right before Blackboard, but I think the platform was Final Site before that. So it's a long-established company and platform. They just happened to make a business decision and acquire the K-12 portion of Blackboard. And so, they have a strong history, and so that's why they're trying to get people to just go ahead and quickly move over to their platform, rather than take the 3 years that they would continue to support. But with a deadline looming in the future, I'm always kind of leery about knowing that there's an end in sight when I can make a decision that basically doesn't cost us something for migration.
Follow-up question on the transition for communication with this new app. How are we going to communicate that with the parents ahead of next year's school start?
Yep. Parent Square, during our demo and conversations, they already provided us a launch kit that we can have different messaging that sends out to parents and different messaging that goes out to staff. We think that it's going to be very, very intuitive and easy to use, and so some teachers and staff will be able to pick up it very easily. But we also are planning to do some sessions during professional development in late July, early August before school, so that those that are very eager to get on the Parent Square bandwagon will have information about how to do that. And then with the launching to parents, it integrates completely with Skyward, and so all a parent really needs is a phone number or email address that's associated with their student's Skyward profile, and it automatically loads everything for them.
I have a question. Part of the reason that we did change to Blackboard was it enabled us to be ADA compliant. I'm assuming that we'll still be able to be ADA compliant with this new platform.
Right. Website accessibility is a big issue for every company, and so Final Site is also one of those that make sure that the accessibility is there for everything. And over the last year, I've taken, sometimes, you have to not consider design or formatting just in order to make sure that the accessibility is there, and that's with captions for pictures. It's with your PDF attachments, making sure they're not all scans of forms, but actually something that someone who downloads it can access it easily. So yes, Final Site should be compliant with that as well. I think Terry had a question. All right.
Did
And
it
we'll
e-
keep you updated on the progress and when we're about to launch and when we're ready to launch, so that y'all know ahead of time before as we get through both of these programs.
Do any other administrators have anything to add? I know Ms. Grimsley, some of you guys were on the call as well. Anything to add? Okay. All right, next up, Mr. Carnes, we're going to talk about signaling, CBAS, Community-Based Accountability System. Mr. Carnes.
All right, good evening. I started to say that we're excited, but that's Nikki's word. So we're exhilarated to be able to come to y'all tonight and show off some of the work that the principals and many others have been working on. And just to kind of, first of all, tell you, many months ago, as we've been working on this and bringing this to you, if you remember, we brought a couple of pillars, and we started building and working on it to where now we have all 7 of our pillars fully functioning and to be able to signal out and report. As it is with any complex organization, we've got some things that we're doing really well. We also have some things that we're putting some serious efforts into to improve. And each principal is going to come up and give you, take just a few minutes to give you a snapshot of where they're at, things that are going well, and things that they're working on. So, but many, many months ago, we reverse engineered this, and we are right on schedule, which is exhilarating. In August, end of August, well, and come the August board meeting, we will have our first community report, which we anticipate would be about 20 pages in a magazine-style format that will come out and will give a full accounting of how we're doing. There will be stories, there will be pictures, there will be highlights, and work that we're doing well, and work that we're engaging in to improve student outcomes, to improve, fill in the blank, as you'll hear some of the principals talk about. And then in September, this will be made fully public, and we'll have lots of conversation about it, and to be able to talk about what we're doing. So that'll come in September. Of course, that'll be a publication, and additionally it will be social media, website, all of the things. And so with that, I'm going to ask each principal to come up and give you a little snapshot. This is the first of all, this is the district. Nope, that's high school.
Mr. Carnes.
Back up one to the, ma'am?
I have a quick question before
Yes,
you move
ma'am.
forward. I'm
Yes,
sorry. You were talking about how after the publication is released in August that we'll be communicating and getting feedback from our community. Do we know how we're going to do that yet? Is that going to be in like a public style meeting, or what's your thought and idea on how we're going to hear back from our parents and our community on our community-based accountability system report?
Yes, so final details on some of those things are not yet achieved. However, we're using survey data. We sent out a survey several weeks ago. We gathered feedback that will be included in our signaling, in our reporting, how well we're doing on these things, or how well we're not, or how we're not doing well. And so, but more to come on the exact details of that. So, but Brian, do you have the district? I just wanted to show you real quick. Okay, so here's the ISD signaling chart, and we have each campus listed. So purple is maintain. We're doing well. Green is maintain. Go down. Will you go down, please? Thank you. There we go, so that everybody can see it. Purple is maintain. Green, we're going to consider a change. We're looking at it. There may be something we might want to make a tweak on, so considering a change. The yellow is a minor change, small changes being made, as you can see. And the red, of course, is, hey, something serious that we need. Resources, human resources, time. Typically, these things take some time. And then, as you can see there, then the OT. Are we on track with that, or do we need to make, we've been working on it, but we're not getting where we want to be, so then we need to make a little adjustment. Or two of our favorite letters, effect achieved. So if you see EA, we've accomplished what we set out to accomplish. So I just wanted y'all to see that. So then with this, we can see just a quick snapshot of where we're at as a district. And so you'll see back up at the top of this document. So for example, 1.2, our elementaries are working right there in exploring content at a deep level. And so there we're trying to give them as much support as possible. Dr. Cottle and her department, they are pouring in curricular resources, and so the principals will come up and report to you exactly what some of the things that we're doing to work on these things. So anyway, that's the district one. And then so these key questions, the benefits, all of these things are exactly the same for each campus. And then, but then individually, they're working on different things within each of those things. So then, if you'll go to the high school now, I believe
before we move forward, please.
Yes, sir.
You can go back. In 2.1.
Yes, sir.
I noticed that we had some colors that indicate major changes are needed, and yet at the same time we have effect achieved, I think is what the words were. So help me understand.
So, on 2.1 for the high school?
2.1 for the high school.
Yep, so they're making a change there, and then so they've been working on it, but now they have to they haven't done exactly what they wanted to accomplish, so they're making an adjustment. And so that's what Mr. Flood is going to come up and speak to you about
Okay,
to let you know exactly what he's doing there.
Misinterpreted the letters. I apologize.
No
Thank
problem.
you, sir.
No problem. This is all new, and we're figuring it out, and we're making, we're doing some great things with it, and we're figuring some stuff out as we go as well. But ultimately, it's a really good thing, and we're very, very proud of it. So, with that said, Mr. Flood.
Thank you, Mr. Carnes. So yeah, like Mr. Carnes was talking about, one of our big lifts at the high school that we're working on is making sure kids are ready for what happens after graduation. We can get really into the weeds here, so I'll try to go real soon, but since you asked about 2.1, what that relates to is we bought School Links and implemented it in January, which is basically a one-stop shop for kids to be able to explore what college or career they want to go to, and then what colleges have those certifications or tech trade schools you can go to that allow you to get certified and help you find scholarships so that you can pay for going to get that education or that training. It has career inventories of what this job is like, what you might like about it, some Myers-Briggs personality inventories that are well commonly accepted, of what kids might like to do with those types of personalities, and then just aligns them with careers they might want to go to. We did that in January. One of our biggest goals we had was that we would send out a parent claim piece so parents could claim their children and then follow their child's work. It just didn't go as well as we thought it did. So we're making adjustments that in the fall, that will be much easier for parents to find their kid and then track, what top 3 colleges did you pick? What job do you think you want to do? And then have conversations with their child at home about what they might want to do. And then here's the universities that work. Here's some scholarships, and those scholarships are national, so they apply to that university or that career field if that's what they want to go into. That's just got a large branching scope. So that applies to 2.1 and 2.3. That is our biggest lift. That's why we wrote adjustment needed in there, was to help get the parents more on board with that. We tried it. My own personal kids didn't do it right, so we didn't even find it at home. So it was just, we're going to find a new way to do that. Outside of that, we're working in other areas. A lot of them are on track. We hope that, supporting learning can happen anywhere with our collaboration spaces. We put in new policies and protocols and wrote those on the outside and posted them so kids know, hey, you can't be on your phone out here, or hey, you can't eat out here. So we hope those have the effect we want outside of there. Is there anything else I need to add, Jason, or just take questions? Okay. Any questions about the high school before I
Yes,
turn
sir.
it over?
So I noticed on the high school, several of the out years are not colored. Mm-hmm. Can you help me understand?
Yeah, so there's debate between Mr. Frazier and some of us of should we predict 2 years out, or if we're making a change, should we wait and see if the change affects before we say, we do want to hit when we hope we have accomplished it, but I chose the side of, okay, let's wait and see what happens. Some of the ones that are minor changes or we're not working on right now, we just kind of forecast those. But those that have bigger changes, we wanted to outline when we think we'll get to where we want to be. So like 2.1, we hope we get the effect achieved by the end of the summer of 24. So a whole year and a half of working on this, we hope where we want to be starting the 24-25 school year. So that's how that color codes out. So, any questions? All right, thanks.
Hi, Tom Frazier, Godley Middle School, and
Carrie Grimsley, Godley 6th grade campus.
we are together because we are one PEAMS code. And just to be clear, there is some discussion between Mr. Frazier and all of the learning that we have gone through over the past couple of years, and Mr. Flood about how far to signal out. Just saying, one of us is going through with the training, one of us is not. So we'll go through the middle school. We're doing a lot of work there, a lot of changes taking place, a lot of good stuff happened this school year, and we'll really just kind of highlight where we are as far as kind of like Mr. Flood did on 2.3. We say we have an adjustment needed. So that one was a minor change, thinking about our student planners. So the school purchased planners for each student, and the idea was to help teach the students executive function skills, planning skills, how to appropriately schedule out their time and prepare themselves for the future that way. And again, that did not go like we planned, so we'll have additional training for teachers to help train the students on how to properly utilize those tools. We did on 3.1 go from a major change to a minor change, and that is specifically on the American Reading Company. You want to talk more?
Yeah, sure. So this year we implemented some changes in our reading curriculum at the 6th grade level, so it was a major change, major overhaul. We made it through year one successfully. We will have a couple of new staff members come on board, so we're pretty solid, but there will be some training that will need to take place, and so that's the adjustment there. But everything's going wonderfully in that area.
So going from red to yellow, the red indicates a major change, meaning a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of energy, possibly fiscal resources, human resources, things like that. The yellow means it is a change, but it's not as much of those resources. So that's why that one went from red to yellow. The major change to a minor change is because we've figured some things out and have a little different system in place, so it's not as big of a lift for anybody. And then on 3.3, we went from maintain to now we're doing a minor change. That is identify student successes throughout the year. What we've realized, and going through the Fundamental 5 revisited, there's a large portion of the students that you kind of get left out when you don't recognize the small accomplishments, their growth throughout the process. So we're talking with our media classes about getting a slideshow going throughout the lunch period to recognize individual victories and attendance, and the group of students showed growth on their map and whatever it is. So the little victories throughout the way to help recognize all of the students. So that's one of our changes that we're making now. Can you scroll, please? Okay, 6.1. Higher effective personnel. So really what we were looking at there is getting a presence online. Me personally getting on LinkedIn and posting jobs and things like that. So going through that process throughout this year, through this hiring season, we do believe that has helped. So we are nearing the sunset date of that. And the 6.2, the major change there, we said stakeholder understanding, that is CBAS. That is trying to allow all the stakeholders to see what we're doing, where we need to improve, what we're doing well, and keeping that open line of communications. 6.3, going from the minor change to the purple, the maintain, says EA, effect achieved. So that is aligned resources, the allocations, going through this past school year, looking at budgetary requests, budgetary processes and procedures, but specifically around professional development. We have those processes in place now, and so that is kind of a part of our culture. And it is the same with 7.2. You see effect achieved. So that was a really, really big deal, especially after the Uvalde tragedy, where we said stop the prop and be nice, check it twice. So it's not that we're not going to do those things anymore, it's that it's part of our culture now. So our culture is be nice, check it twice, and stop the prop. And then 7.4, mutual respect, says adjustments needed. So going through there, we've started a few different things. We've started Hope Squad. We're looking at a new PBIS, the Positive Behavior Intervention Support System. So again, working on the positive character traits, trying to get the students to be respectful and have the good character skills, and our counselor push-in lessons, looking at changing her schedule to make sure that she can get in and see all those students. Questions?
Question for you, sir.
Yes, sir.
On 6.2, going from a major change to maintain, is that a little bit optimistic without some fine-tuning in between?
So that's where I think the colors are really important. So the major change is, it's a heavy lift, it's a lot of resources, it's a lot of time and energy and change, but then once it becomes a part of us and what we do, we're going to maintain. So if it's no longer a change, but now something that we're doing, there's nothing to change anymore. Kind of, instead of like, I know you want to see red to yellow to purple.
There's a logical flow in there somewhere. That seems to make a leap instead of a step.
Yes, so again, it's going from it was something completely different that we're doing, but now it is just a part of us. It's a part of our system. There's no more changes to take place. This is a part of us.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Any other questions? All right, thank you.
We were just trying to read it. Okay, so Pleasant View Elementary, and a lot of what the elementaries are doing are very similar, so you'll hear a lot of the similar things. And the other thing that when we very first started this, the focus was to really decide what you want to put your energy into. And as educators, and especially as leaders, we want to make changes on all of this. If we all had our way, there would be red across the board, because we always think we need to be doing something and making changes. So I kind of want to just make sure that we understand that even though it says maintain, energy is still involved in that maintenance, and that's something I think we've all, as leaders, I know me particularly, have really tried to focus ourselves in on what we can spend our energy, and we can be trying to do a whole lot of things a little good, or a few things really, really good, and really, really focusing on. So anyway, I just wanted to make sure that was something we had shared, because at the elementary level, we do have fewer things that we're saying we want to make changes to, but like 1.2, explore content at a deep level, that started with our American reading, and that went really well. The implementation of that and the results we're seeing from that are just beyond what I've ever seen before. So that's going to continue. But at the elementary level, there was originally a need for a math adoption, and that was supposed to be coming, and the state has decided that that's going to be pushed off a little bit. So we're at the point of making sure that we have resources for our teachers. So I'm keeping that red, because we're adding that math on there this year as well, and making sure that our teachers are getting a robust math curriculum just like they received for the reading. So that's where I feel like we're on track with that and are keeping that red. The 1.3 learning is aligned to the student need. We'll continue that as a minor change. We're doing a pretty good job of that, making sure we have those scope and sequences, but with that addition to the math, I felt like there's still a minor change that we're going for there. For me, 1.4 is probably a little different than others. By the nature of this building, learning can happen anywhere, anyhow, anytime. It opens itself up for that, and our teachers and students have really just taken a hold of that. And if you're out here at any given time, they're learning all over the place, and we have some really neat places to learn. And I hope that that is something that can come for our other schools, because it's really valuable, and the students and teachers really do talk about that. So I hope that that's something that that the other schools are going to be able to get in the near future. Otherwise, the student readiness, that's something that we're maintaining, and just little changes along the way. That'll be probably our next area for me. As you can see, kind of as it forecasts out, as the first pillar comes into alignment, we'll then start to, that'll influence the second pillar. If you'll scroll up. The third pillar's missing somewhere, but so fourth and is pretty much the same thing there, community engagement and partnerships. That's something, like I said, that as a new school, we're getting that up and getting that going, and there might be some things down the road, but right now we just have some minor adjustments that we're making. The next area is the professional learning and effective staff. So the values, principles, and culture, that was a minor change because of being a new school and because we were splitting elementaries and making 3. That was something we wanted to make sure we fine-tuned along with the training. We'll stay minor 1 more year as we continue to look at those goals, and that kind of supports that pillar 1. And then the next area, you can scroll down to 7. For me, those were the only other areas looking to make minor changes. I did go ahead and move that to maintain. I didn't put my little proper letters in the purple, my apologies. But now that the building is coming to completion and we have all of our safety protocols in place, we did really well with that this year. And then the mutual respect is something that we're kind of phasing over to consider a change, because we used our roars, which is something some others might talk about, but it's our student respect, kind of our phrase that we say, and the students really took hold, and we're recognizing students and staff for that. So it's very pleasant. Any questions?
Hi. All right. This is for RB Godley, our signaling chart. Just looking at Pillar 1, I did my presentation a little bit different, and just to focus on the things that still are on target but are red or yellow, and kind of what we're focusing on there. So for 1.2 and 1.3, the 3 things, that we really will be focusing on going on into next year will be our pacing of the American Reading Company curriculum. We had an end-of-year meeting looking at data and talking through some challenges that we had on our campus. We met our goal, which was fantastic and great, and we were really happy about that. But we seem to constantly be just right there at the edge meeting that goal. I wasn't real comfortable with that. And so we talked through that, and I need to make some adjustments with the pacing that my teachers are kind of following with that. I'll be leaning on Ms. Grimsley to come in and help coach us with some of that next year. The other thing that we need to do a little bit better job of with our reading is our small groups, and also in math as well. So that'll be a focus for us next year going forward. And then also the implementation of Eureka, the math curriculum, and the alignment of that, not just Eureka, but the alignment of the math curriculum. Do you want me to stop after each one, or you want to do questions at the very end? Keep rolling? Keep rolling. All right. Pillar 3, we have on target for those 3 as well. We're going to continue with our attendance incentives, which this year we did pizza with the principals at the end of each 9 weeks for those students that had perfect attendance. It was a really big deal. They loved it. I wasn't sure. Like, it was just something we kind of brainstormed and came up with, and it was a big deal. And, like, kids would be coming in, I've done this 2 times in a row. Like, they were so proud, and it was really fun. And we got to have pizza with them and some time to just hang out. And it was really great. We also started enrichment clubs our second semester, where students got to pick a club to go to on Fridays of something they were interested in. We had running club, yoga, cooking. We had a space club, lots of different ones. So we're going to continue with that. As we just started it in the second semester, I don't feel like I have enough data to tell you the impact, other than there was lots of enthusiasm and the kids really liked it. And we know that anytime kids are happy and excited about what's happening at school, they learn better. So we want to continue that. We will also be tweaking just a little bit that pillar and bringing in the house system next year to our campus to promote community service as well as student engagement. So I will keep you posted on that. Okay, pillar 5. All right, on this one, I left it on track mainly because I didn't feel comfortable saying that effect had been achieved right. I know some of the other people did, and that's okay. I wanted to get into the first 9 weeks and see how we're settled in before I make any changes there. But I expect that we could go to effect achieved, depending on how that shakes out with Ms. Grimsley coming on and helping us with our training. Pillar 7. This one's also going really, really well, like Ms. Block said. We had Stop the Prop, Be Nice, Check It Twice, and our roars that we do every day. And then we also do legendary students that get acknowledged on our campus on Fridays. It's a big deal. You get your shout out. You get to know why you were nominated, and get your picture made, all the things. It's a big deal, and we all celebrate you. The kids love it, and even at the end of the year, they were taking it on and coming up to me and saying, like, hey, can I nominate this person, like another student, or this teacher, or this cafeteria worker? Like, they were starting, and that's exactly what we want. We don't want it to be adult-driven. We want it to be all about them. So, again, that could move to effect achieved, but I wanted to get the school year started and be really sure before I did that. That's all. Okay, thank you.
So being last is easy because they covered a lot of what I was going to say between ARC, American Reading Company, and the math curriculum coming in, the pacing and sequence. Those are all things that we have at Legacy Elementary as well. 2 of the big things that I put of adjustment needed is 3.2, to what degree do we facilitate and promote the values and interests of students. We did not previously have Friday clubs. It was something we wanted to implement last year, but we just said, let's get through this first year as a new elementary, and we're going to do it next year. So that's our plan on Fridays, is to have the enrichment clubs, very similar to what RP Godley has as well. And then to what degree, 3.3, identifying and promoting student strengths and areas of success. We promote student success through positive office referrals, teachers like caught doing something good, and we get to call home and celebrate with parents. But we would like to bring that to our morning assembly, as well as little things that they get excited about, their birthday or growth in some area, some kind of success. We're going to do that in our morning assembly. So that's something different that we will do next year, and everything else is on target and no big changes. Any questions?
So I do have questions that is going to be for all 3 of you.
Yes, sir.
As I looked through this, I noticed that I think it was in section 1.2 that there was some differences between campus, and that one was focused on opportunities. And I may be misunderstanding, but I would think the same opportunities would exist at all 3 campuses. So help me understand how we would have differences in our evaluation of that particular criteria.
Yours is red. Yours is red. on mine, it shows that they're all in the red.
So the only thing, I think the only difference is this one, hers, her red ends a little bit sooner. I went in, it looks like Legacy, like RB Godley and Pleasant View. Well,
Can we go back to Pleasant View?
I mapped
there's
mine
different-
out red a little bit further. There's just two squares that are red and hers are yellow. We just kind of mapped them out a little bit further, but all of us will be reevaluating after each quarter and can either extend it or reduce it. But yes, the same opportunities are there.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, and when signaling out, I am really just focusing on the summer 23 column, looking forward to the first quarter. Anything past that, like she said, will be reevaluated every quarter. If there's more of an adjustment needed, or if I feel like that we're doing better and where we're at and not as big of adjustment, then we'll maintain. Does that make sense? Okay.
Thank you.
You bet.
Any other questions? Go ahead.
So
Mr.
real
Thomas.
quick, I just wanted to wrap it up, and kudos to our principals. Just an amazing job that they're doing with this, and it's new for us, and we're figuring a lot of it out. And so we have already, I guess it was last week, we have already scheduled, because we will be coming to you throughout the course of the, crazy to say, but the 23-24 school year, we will be coming to you quarterly, giving you updates, how we're doing on these things, continuing to look. And I think it's also important to mention that we are looking at multiple measures per pillar. So right now, so between now and the time that we come back to you in August, and we're working on this, and we have this publication, that we have groups of people that are looking at multiple measures. STAR, for example, is one data point. We have map testing. You go to Pillar 7 and all of our safety features. So Brian Hunt and I, we're looking at, okay, how are we doing with this thing? We're looking at survey data. We're looking at data from the state. We're looking at multiple pieces. And I just want to say that we're looking at it in my experience and in my time here, we're looking at things at a deeper level than we ever have. And school's complex. There's a lot of moving parts. And so, anyway, we're just exhilarated about this, and we're doing a great job, and we're excited to come back to you next year with even more and even better. So, thank y'all.
Don't go away.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
So I have a question.
I debated
First of
whether
all-
to step back up here or not.
First of all, I think that you guys are doing a fantastic job with the CBAS, and I know it has been a lot of work, and so I commend you on sticking with it, and I'm just very happy with it.
Thank you.
So, that being said, has it trickled down to our teachers? When you're speaking in your staff meetings or talking one-on-one with a teacher on how things are going in their classroom, are you going back and referencing the pillars and, where we are on the signaling chart? And are they having feedback? Are they giving their feedback to you so that when you signal, you're actually keeping in mind and addressing issues that you're hearing back from like the classroom level?
So yes, ma'am, absolutely. But if we were signaling that, I would tell you that we're a work in progress on that. We're figuring that out. So here's an example. In professional learning effective staff, right now we use T-TESS, which is the state observation system for teachers. Next year, we are piloting an evaluation tool that will be based off of these 7 pillars. And then we're going to work through that next year with a small group of teachers, and the principals have talked with and identified some of those that are willing to do that next year. We're going to work through that, we're going to tweak it, and then with the intent that we move to that for all teachers, so that, because this is what's important to us here in Godley, so this is what we're going to do. Take Wildcat University, for example, where all of our new employees, when they come on board and we onboard them, these are the things that we're talking to them about. We're going over the pillars with them and what this means and what our values are and our focus on growth and integrity and perseverance and Wildcat pride. So each of those things are slowly being implemented. We're kind of the big ship, and we turn the rudder, but it just takes a little bit of time to move. So we're going to be constantly evolving in this, and we're learning and we're growing. But yes, more and more, even with getting this out more to the community and understanding what this looks like, what this means, and those things. Students as well. These are our values. This is what's important. And so everyone. We want everybody and to be a part of this, but also to understand what it is, to know that like any organization, we're doing some things well, and we've got some areas of improvement.
Hey, if I can piggyback on what Krista said.
Yes, sir.
If I recall back a year ago, or about that time,
Okay.
we outlined this plan. Here we're going to take quarter by quarter, we're going to take certain pillars, focus on them, and then at the time, you guys said, a year from now, we're going to have all the pillars outlined and mapped, and then we can start fine-tuning from there. So here we are, a year later. So thank you guys for all the principals, all of those that help you to be able to get here. So
Yes,
thank
sir.
you again.
Yes, sir.
I wish y'all could see how big our safety and security director back there is smiling because y'all mentioned stop the prop twice. So he is very happy back there. Thank you, Mr. Carnes. Thank you, principals. A lot of hard work on this. And that's the end of superintendent reports.
Okay, we are going to consider consent agenda items.
Mr. Stevenson, could I request to pull a few items from the consent agenda because I had some questions on them?
Okay.
That was item 7A2, item 7A5, and item 7A6. And I don't know if you want to just go over those now or after the other consent agenda items.
So the request is to hold those for approval until discussion is what I'm interpreting?
Yes, correct.
Okay. And I apologize. I'm
Yeah,
barely
it's okay.
seeing. Just repeating, that was 7A2, 7A5, is that correct?
Yes, and 7A6.
Okay, is there any reason you wouldn't be prepared to ask those questions now? Or are you
Oh,
okay
no, I'm
with that as
prepared.
we walk through that?
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
prepared. I
All
just
right.
didn't know if we could discuss it as a part of the consent agenda.
Yep, we can certainly discuss those
Okay.
as we get to those.
Thank you.
All right. All right, the minutes from a special meeting, canvassing the election results in regular meeting minutes.
How about I make a motion to approve 7A1, 7A3, 7A4, and 7B. No.
Wait, 7B is not.
Yeah, no, that's right.
Okay, so I'm hearing the motion to accept 7A1, 3, 4. Is that correct?
I'll second that.
Okay, I have a motion by Terry and a second by Marissa. Any other discussion on those three items? All those in favor? Motion passes unanimously. Okay, so we will consider the district financial report, and I believe we have questions there.
Yes. So on item 7A2, on the statement of revenues and expenditures, the general fund, line item 41, general administration, I saw that there was a 24% increase over what was expended the prior year, and I just was wondering what the reason for the increase in spending for that item was.
So I apologize, I don't have those details exactly in front of me. That could be, part of that is salaries for the administration office, part of that is legal. So like I said, I apologize, I don't have those details in front of me for each year. But like I said, that is, general administration is basically the central administration office, those expenses associated with that. So could be, I would guess that it's going to be some contracted services, which would be attorney fees or something like that.
Is there going to be an issue that we're over our budget we're 75% of the way through this year? Is there going to be an issue with our budget?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. And then my other question was also on 7A2, the INS portion. I see that we have an almost $3 million deficit for the INS, and I'm just wondering how we plan on covering the debt payments due with this almost $3 million deficit.
So the INS fund, we adopted a deficit budget knowing that we have more than adequate funds in the fund balance to cover those. So we will have about $4 million left to pay in debt on August 15th, and that will come from the fund balance that we have accumulated over the past several years.
Mr. Myers, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's the structure that our financial advisor built for us to have our lowest payment. We pre-planned, we built fund balance in advance, knowing that we would use it as part of our payments, correct?
Exactly. That was according to our financial advisor, that we've been building up the fund balance slowly a little bit in the INS fund.
And so those will be debt service funds that are available?
Yes.
Okay. That's all I had on that item.
Okay, do I have a motion for the district financial report?
I'll motion to approve the district financial report.
Second. I have a motion by Terry and a second by Dennis. Any further discussion? All in favor? Approved unanimously. All right, next will be budget amendment. Again, questions associated with the budget amendment.
Yes, I had a question on the overage for the JCSSA payments. I was just curious what caused the increase from the agreement at the beginning of the year to go over budget, that almost $250,000.
Those payments sometimes are not ironclad when we adopt our budget. So that is one item that we just needed to move some money over to that function only. Again, we're not increasing the budget overall. We're just moving some money around from function to function. It's just occasionally, sometimes during the school year, those things develop, and we have to make an adjustment.
Ms. Gonzalez, correct me if I'm wrong, but when we build those budgets at the beginning of the school year, especially with our special ed population, we don't quite know where it's going to shake out. So we knew there was probably going to be a shortage, but it's...
Can you come to the mic, please?
Okay. So a lot of it is contract services. Like, we have a lot of initial evaluations going on, so I have to sometimes, it's too much for our evaluation staff to handle, so I contract out to cover those so we can make timelines. Another part was a bus. We had ordered it, and it took us like 8 months to get it in, so we kind of had to move money back and forth into one budget, and then once we got the bus in, kind of move it back and forth. And some of it is assessment kits and okay. It's just, we never know with special ed students what the need is. We could have an FM system of a kid that just moved in. It just depends on the student needs. Okay. So.
Okay, do I have a motion for the budget amendment?
I'll make a motion to approve the budget amendment as presented on 7A5.
I'll second.
Have a motion by Marissa and a second by Krista. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion passes unanimously. All right, next we will discuss the Godley ISD budget for 23-24 school.
Oh, sorry,
year.
I think we missed 7A6.
Oh, apologize. I skipped one. Let's go back then. Yeah, discussion on 7A6.
Yeah, I just had a question on the science 9th through 12th grade instructional materials, question 32. I believe that might have been left blank. It still says insert here, so I didn't know if we were missing the curriculum there for that particular one.
9 through 12 is not there?
Yeah, it's on question 32, science 9 through 12 instructional materials.
Okay, I'll go back. I have to submit this online after I approve it with y'all, and so I must have just, okay, I filled it out twice because it got lost once. So yes, I'll go back and check it. Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you.
And we use an adopted curriculum for 9 through 12. They have 2 different textbooks. There's several different areas that they use because they have different contents that I'll go back and pull. They're all adopted textbooks that went through the committee 8-9 years ago when we adopted science last time. So thank you for that.
Yes.
Anything else?
All right, do I have a motion for the approval of the TEAC certification?
I'll make a motion to consider the approval of the TEAC certification for the 23-24 school year as presented.
I'll second.
Have a motion by Marissa and a second by Krista. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion passes unanimously. Now on to 7B. Discuss the Godley ISD budget for 23-24 school year.
Okay, I just wanted to go over quickly the estimated amounts for the 23-24 budget. So far, as of now, the estimated revenues are going to be about almost 36 million, and the also estimated expenses will be around 36 million. So we're going to, again, I'm endeavoring to adopt a balanced budget for 23-24. We are working with, we'll go over in a minute, we're going to go over some of the pay scales and the tax rate that goes into adopting that budget, which will be towards the end of August. And so, again, we're just working towards keeping this budget as tight as we can so that we can pay our employees the best we can. Moving on.
Before you move on, I did have a question on this. I see the anticipated expense of around 36 million. Do you have a breakdown of by function code or whatever? Obviously, we know our staffing runs about 80%.
Correct.
That's historic, so no big surprises there. But that
Right.
20% we have opportunity to affect.
Right.
So do we have an estimate for that?
For the 20%?
Yes, sir. By function code or however works
so
best.
I just did a quick preview. So like function 11 runs about 54% of our budget. That's instruction, and as it should be. Majority of our money should go towards instruction. Interestingly enough, the next highest function is maintenance, which includes utilities. Those utilities continue to climb and escalate, so we're having to really work towards keeping those costs down so that, again, we can keep those, the majority of the money going towards salaries. Again, like you said, we have about right at almost 80% of our overall budget is salaries. So like you were just mentioning, we only have about 21% that we can actually affect and look at and analyze each and every, really account by account almost, to see if we are in line, if we've increased from year to year, and so forth. Did that answer your question?
Do you have a little breakdown of that 20% by function?
I'm sorry, I do not. I did not have that portion broken down.
Okay.
Anything else?
No, sir.
Okay.
Okay. Just wanted to go over a kind of a historical, our taxable values in the second column. As you can see, in about 2016, our value started dropping. We've started increasing slowly, and then at a little more accelerated rate in the past couple of years. So this is just a estimate of our values will be 1.7 billion. We are just now getting back to where we were actually back around 2008, 9, 10. So that growth is helping. So the tax rate you can see for this year, we are should be dropping about 2.2 cents on the M&O side. The INS rate should be staying the same. So again, the total tax rate will be dropping about 2.2 cents. I think we're pleased with that, and that will be contingent on any legislation that happens between now and budget adoption. Any questions?
So for the second year in a row, we will be dropping our tax rate, or that's where you're projecting?
Yes, ma'am. Okay. On to the salary schedules. I don't want to get into the, I don't have a slide for this one. I don't want to get too much into the weeds on this one. We're trying to give all of our hourly people around a 7% increase. So back in 2021, when we passed our VATRE, they got an increase there. It wasn't quite as high as it was comparison to our teachers. And so we're trying to give them a bigger increase than in the past. So right now we're looking at around 7% increase. And we're also, Human Resources is kind of trying to delineate a little bit of pay grades so that we can see how each group may be affected. So these are all the hourly pay scales. And one thing I did want to note is that we are also making a big push on our bus drivers, because we are really struggling to hire bus drivers. All the districts around us are increasing their pay, and so we're just going to have to bite the bullet a little bit to increase our bus drivers' pay. That was going to be right at about $5 per hour, $5 per hour per employee. So it'll be just be across the board rates for everybody. And then we also are looking on our provided to, I apologize, probably a little late today, the counselor pay. We're also looking at them because that's another group that we're having a little bit of struggle hiring, mainly because our people are working a few more days than the average person, average counselor. Any questions on the salary schedule?
I just wanted to ask a quick question. Your proposed previous budget slide, that does include these pay raises?
Yes, ma'am.
And the teacher step pay raises?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Does it include a bus or two?
No, ma'am. we'll have to look at that one between our normal M&O budget and bonds. And so. Okay, thank you.
All right, next item is review the 23-24 Godley ISD campus handbooks. Mr. Hunt?
Good evening. Always an exciting time to do handbooks. Just thrills my soul. Not much as check it twice, make it twice, or God, I can't even do it. Never mind. So, okay, moving on. So the campus handbooks, section 3, be nice, check it twice. There it is. The campus section 3 handbooks, the district just makes local changes. So the campus principals met. Some of the APs are here, the assistant principals, to present those changes locally. What we will do for the district handbook is wait for the model to come out from TASB. Once that comes in, I'll make those changes, edit those, and then I'll bring that to you hopefully in July after a legislative year. Previous years, sometimes it's been August when they get it done. So it depends on when they get the model out. It's sent to me and we make those changes. So I'll be bringing that to you hopefully in July. But for tonight, we just have the local changes that each campus administration made their decisions on, and they're going to present those to you tonight. Any questions about anything like that? Okay, so I believe some of our APs are here to present.
Howdy. I'm delighted to be here. All right. Well, I am actually presenting on behalf of the elementary schools. We only had one change. We are going back to the fingertip length for short skirts, any slit in the skirt, things like that. So previously it was right here where the fingers meet the palm. We're going to be consistent across the district, and we are going to go back to fingertip. Also, sometimes when you give an inch, they take a mile, so at least at the high school. So, okay. Any questions? Yes, sir.
So I heard you say skirts and skirts with slits. Does that include shorts?
Shorts, skirts, holes in the jeans. If you can see skin underneath it, the skin has to be below fingertip length. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Did I understand the entire district is going to that?
Yes,
okay.
ma'am.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Once again, we will be following that. Same with the dress code, as we have found that there's an adage that says sometimes if you give people an inch, they will take a mile. As we saw on the high school level, we gave them an inch and they gave us a thigh. And so we decided we will be going back to the fingertip as well. One of the areas that we will be looking at is in the policy that governs the employees and their use of social media. The area that we will be addressing is it'll be stated that GISD employees are permitted from following and communicating with students through their personal social network page, with one exception. Employees who are also parents of a student can friend their own child. And so we, in times past, now that we have adopted ParentSquare, it's going to be the recommendation of the high school in our handbook that all official communications and whatnot go through those proper channels and not be used under the format of personal social media. We are making 3 changes to our code of conduct. One of the things that we have found that we had to put inside there, oddly enough, it says that more than one student in the bathroom at a time in a bathroom stall is permitted or is not permitted. We found that was part of the issues that, yes, it actually is an issue. We would have multiple kids in one bathroom stall, and so we have stopped that. And so we now there are a series of consequences that will come about, and that is a no tolerance issue. If we see multiple feet inside the bathroom, then there is an immediate consequence. We're also updating 2 more. Which says unwanted physical contact minor and unwanted physical contact major. And basically, we got this idea from the middle school. It would be if it was more of rough housing, but horseplay. That it was one of those things that if one of the people did not feel that was warranted on their behalf, then there is a consequence in place. We also did make a adjustment for students that are inside ISS or TAP. It says that students in TAP may attend practice after school but not participate in games or competitions. Students in OOSS or DAP may not participate in any extracurricular activities, including practice. What the change was that in previous times, if a student was inside ISS, they could not attend practice. Another rule that we have changed as far as dress code is what we're calling the palm width rule. And what that is that if you were to place your hand sideways across your chest with your index finger on your clavicle or collarbone, where your pinky ends, that is where your shirt needs to be closed up at that point. We saw that began to be more of an issue at the high school. Nearly lastly, piercings and hoops are going to be allowed in the nose. We had studs in the times past and piercings, and it was brought to the attention of the campus if piercings are allowed there, then what is the harm with a hoop? And so we'll still follow the other guidelines that are there, which says tapers and gauges and plugs in the ears cannot exceed a third or a 0 or 8 millimeter. Small nose studs and hoops up to 2 millimeters are permitted. Clear spacers must be worn for all other piercings. We have 3 other things. As a campus, we wanted to put inside the section what the substitute standards for the state of Texas assessment of academics and readiness, which is the STAR. We just wanted to put inside the handbook where the parents have more access to it, and there will be a chart that is inside there, meaning if a parent wanted to opt out of U.S. history, there is a test or a standard that a parent would then know that they would have to take in place of that. We also moved over from the local EIC policy about the senior projects, and that I will read directly what it says. Starting with the graduating class of 2023, the local EIC policy states that in order to be recognized as valedictorian or salutatorian, the student must have completed a senior project and the foundation program with a distinguished level of achievement. This regulation is to define what is considered a senior project in order to be named the valedictorian or salutatorian. Acceptable senior projects to be named valedictorian or salutatorian include students taking and satisfactorily completing one of the following courses, which would be independent studies in English, business English, scientific research and design, practicum courses at the end of a CTE program of study. And then lastly, we did make an update to our grading standards, and that says all academic classes, with the exception of PE, band, athletics, will have a minimum of 9 major grades, 9 minor grades, and 3 major tests each 9 weeks during a reporting period. Tests, grades may consist of folders, reports, projects, etc. And we are also asking that 1 major grade be entered for each progress reporting period, which would be every 3 weeks. Do you guys have any questions about what I presented for the high school?
Yes, sir. Question back to the length of skirts, shorts, whatever.
Yes,
Is
sir.
that going to also apply to our athletic teams? My recollection is our volleyball shorts and basketball shorts sometimes could really push that envelope. Are we going to enforce that there?
I think what the heart of where we're going for the code of conduct is for the students that are not involved in the extracurricular activities like the sports. I would want to defer that to Coach Lowry.
Okay, I think it would be setting a double standard if we allow our athletic or our
Absolutely, yes,
athletes
sir.
to wear
I
a
can see
pair
that
of shorts
clearly.
that are less than the fingertip.
Absolutely, yes, sir. I can see that. Are there any other questions for the high school level?
When will we be approving handbooks? When is that coming back for approval? So if we want to have more discussion on this,
Yes, we can keep it on
We
the
have
agenda.
some more, yeah,
Yes, ma'am.
next
This is
month
on it just so
possibly.
we can talk. Yes, ma'am.
Thank
We
you.
we try not to have board approval, so it can be a living document, so if something does need to change quickly for the student safety or anything like that, we can do that. But yes, ma'am, we can
Okay.
keep it on there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For the athletics that don't follow the same guidelines, could it be a possibility where they have a cover-up, where if they're on campus, they have, I know when I was in cheerleading, we had pants to put on under our skirts for on campus, so we were within dress code. Could that be a possibility?
I kind of see that as being, what we're talking about is a dress code for everyday attendance at school versus playing a sport like volleyball on a court or tennis on a court. I mean, they're not going to wear their volleyball shorts to class every day. They're only wearing those for competition, which is different.
So to
I
answer
guess
your
I would
question,
ask the question, why is it okay to wear, I'm going to call them short shorts, whatever you want to call them, something less than that length on the court playing, and it's not okay to wear it in class?
Because you're talking about playing a sport versus an academic classroom.
I understand, but you can also have shorts that are of the same tightness that go down almost to the knee that meet the 3-inch length or the fingertip length. I think it's something, to me, it's setting a double standard. We should consider evaluating that.
Jacqueline Trussell, I'm with the middle school. We only had a couple major changes, so just like the other two, we're changing the length of our shorts, and we're also going to be adding the palm width for the top. Another one of our big changes is our tardy policy. So in the past, our tardies have been counted per class, so students get like 2 free tardies per class, and instead we're going to be counting them overall. So they're going to be, so like they get like their first 3 tardies overall would be a warning, and then they would start receiving lunch detention for their 4th tardy overall, not per class. And then our last change is for the grading standard. So in the past, we have done 45, 45, 10. So 45% for a daily grade, minor grade, and then 45% for a major grade and or assessment, and then 10% for a quarterly assessment. We are going to be going to a 50-50, so 50% for the daily, 50% for a summative. So essentially that 10% quarterly grade is now going to be an assessment grade, and then we're still keeping the final exams. And so that's our 3 major changes. Any questions?
Any other questions about handbooks? Okay, thank you, APs.
All right, next we have review the information and pricing to provide life insurance for Godley ISD guardians. Mr. Hunt?
Yes, Mr. Carnes found this article from another district, and it's really a great idea that we can provide extra life insurance for our school guardians. So if they are killed in the line of duty while performing their guardian duties at any campus, we can provide their beneficiaries with an extra life insurance policy. So I looked into a $200,000 policy. It's a $100,000 basic life and $100,000 accidental life, and those would be combined and given to the guardian's beneficiaries, and it would cost Godley ISD $4.80 per month per employee. Obviously, as you go through 300 or 400,000, that monthly premium would go up. But I think this is an absolutely great idea, to something to do for our guardians. And in the event that something happened, we could help take care of their families financially. So, and it's a pretty cheap cost from Blue Cross Blue Shield. So I got that information for you.
Is that something that we would consider just paying for them, giving them a stipend to cover that cost? What are means of implementation that we've considered?
No, what the district would cover that cost for the guardian. We would pay that for the guardian every month to Blue Cross Blue Shield. Right now, we don't do stipends right now, but that's something we're looking at doing moving forward, especially in our budget and things, that we can start paying our guardians some stipends. It's necessary, and it's a good idea, but this would be, the district would cover this cost every month per employee.
That's something we could consider because we have talked about giving our guardian stipends. So that is a possibility of the way we could fund it.
Any other questions?
This is just discussion, information. Any other questions?
Everybody good? Okay.
All right, and I believe we do not have a closed session or executive session tonight. So do I hear a motion?
A motion to adjourn.
All right, thanks, everyone.